Hi friends. Last Thursday was Earth Day, and in honor of that, I want to share something that I was reading about in this book that I've shared with you before. I was reading about a remarkable woman named Wangari Maathai. She was the first woman to do a lot of incredible things. She's a biologist. She was the first woman in Central Africa to earn her PhD. She was the first woman to be the head of her academic department at the university where she taught. And in 2014, she became the first African woman to earn the Nobel Peace Prize. Her story is really remarkable. And it was perfect with Earth Day last week. So her family converted to Christianity. So she was a Christian, and she also had a lot of beliefs about the earth from her indigenous tribe, from where she grew up in Kenya. It says every morning as a child, she collected firewood for her family. She could collect wood from any tree except from the mugamo tree. They left these trees alone because, as her mother explained, this is a tree of God. We don't collect wood from this tree. And these fig trees lived a long and natural life. Later, as a trained biologist, she realized that those sacred fig trees played a central role in the ecology of the land. Because the mugamo trees were sacred and allowed to live long lives, their roots grew deep into the bedrock below the surface of the earth. The roots cut into the rock and allowed subterranean water to flow up close to the surface. Their vast root systems also stabilized the soil, protecting the region from landslides. But when Wangari went away to university and graduate school, the lands where she grew up underwent a major change. Trees, even the sacred trees, were cut down to make room for large farms and other development. Not only did this destabilize the soil, but the farms often polluted the water sources. So women and girls had to walk long distances to find clean water, and those long walks were dangerous. In 1977, at the first ever United Nations meeting on women's rights, Wangari heard these stories of these women, and she realized something had to be done. While the problem was complicated, she knew of one small, tangible step that would add up to the big difference. "I think we should plant trees," she told the assembly. Now, of course, they all didn't understand and did not think that planting trees were going to make that big of a difference. And so it took a lot of education for her to teach people why this mattered. And unfortunately, not everyone agreed with her. There were politicians and developers who were opposed to the planting of these trees. In fact, she was called names, she was put in prison, and she was even beaten for the work that she was trying to do in planting these trees. But she kept planting. The first year, she only planted 7 trees, and 5 of those seedlings died. But the 2 remaining trees are still alive today. And collectively, Wangari and the many women who joined her have now planted over 51 million trees in Kenya and many other countries. In Kenya, a tree is a sign of peace. And so it is fitting that she received the Nobel Peace Prize on behalf of her work. In her acceptance speech, she explained that many conflicts around the world are actually caused by an ecological crisis. Planting trees and paying attention to the balance in nature helps reduce the major conflicts that often lead to violence. She says, when we plant trees, we plant the seeds of peace and hope. May it be so. Bye, friends.